All right. Good Lord. Look at what I did to that, man. Look at what I did. All right. Yeah. All right, hold on. My lighting is rubbish. But it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Hold on. Let me can I switch to something a little more? There we go. All right. Yeah, look at what not dark mode can do for you. Yeah. Anyway, this is the you know, more of the your favorite films, your favorite TV series, your anime, your manga. That's what all of this is about. So, if anybody wants to know what this is my attempt at looking like an admiral from One Piece. So there's that. Right? What the hell? Okay, yeah, never mind. Yeah, sorry. Got distracted by a WhatsApp notification. Yeah, so this is the, so Bossman Champion before, this is no Bossman Cinema. Right? So, just so we know, we're compartmentalizing, right? We're working appropriately, right? No, I'm trying to remember which episode I'm at right now. I think I'm at episode 529 of One Piece, I think. And there was something that I wanted to do because I wanted to see what the hype was about. Like, I wanted to see why people consider this the best story ever written, blah blah blah. Everybody has their favorite. Everybody has their, okay, Death Note is the best, or One Piece is the best, or whatever their favorite is. My Hero Academia, whichever one of them. Everybody has a favorite. So, and then of course, there's arguments about the big three, who the big three really are, but they say it's actually a statistical fact that the big three is Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach. And that makes sense. Right? If you're looking at when they came out and the fact that they were the top three, it boils down to the time, it boils down to what was in other words, they were viral before the word viral was a thing. Let's just put it that way. Like, because no, we used to say the word popular, we used to say the word celebrity. We don't use those words anymore. We use viral now. We use trending, viral. Trending and viral. Those are the two words. We don't use popular and celebrity. Them the words, we don't use that again. But I had some funny commentary about some of my characters, like Nico Robin. Oh, Nico Robin. Okay, we have her, and then we have obviously we have Nami. I have something funny about Nami too, right? But then I have reservations, right? So just a few of my reservations. Let's talk about them in terms of like what prevents it from being the absolute best. I'll tell you what that is. For me, imagine you have, like, let's say ballpark, you have 1100 episodes. There's more, but let's cap it at 1100. Half of that is 550, right? Now, I cannot say with any degree of confidence that 505 or 550 of those episodes, right? I can't say of the 550 episodes that the majority of it was the best thing I've ever seen. I feel like one of the problems that I've had is that the build up to the punchline, I feel like a lot of nothing happens, and there are not enough ways to make it interesting leading up to the major event. I feel like the major event is really worthwhile, but the build up and the lead up to it is usually, to me, it's usually weak. And when I compare it to things that some people might not even consider anime, if I were to compare it to, say, Castlevania, I would argue that Castlevania is better written than One Piece. Why? Because there are no episodes wasted. I don't feel like watching any episode of Castlevania is a waste of my time. I can even say that about other contemporaries like Samurai Champloo and Full Metal Alchemist. None of those episodes ever feel like a waste of your time. They just don't. Right? What else? Um, come on, no. All right, yeah. I was thinking, Young Justice. Young Justice is another one. What's the other one I was thinking about? Oh, even Avatar: The Last Airbender, which is not my favorite. I feel like the entire first season was a waste of my life, but season 2 and 3 were good. So at least, you know, you get 2 out of 3. That's a pass. 67%. That not bad. You know, but all right. To be fair, not all of season 1 was a waste. But there are some episodes where I'm like, I feel like season 1 did not do enough for me to be interested in waiting for season 2. That's how I feel about that. Right? And then we're not even go. Let me just give you an analogy. I was 17 when I first played Metal Gear Solid. Right? Now that game originally came out in like 1998. Around the time when Resident Evil 2 came out, Final Fantasy 7, I think Gran Turismo came out around, I don't remember. But I do remember that somewhere between 1998 to 99, a lot of heavy hitters in the PlayStation library came out, right? No, Silent Hill never come out yet. I don't think so. No, Silent Hill might have been a little bit after. But still, Silent Hill was a heavy hitter too. But the point is, when Metal Gear Solid came out, it was sort of like lightning in a bottle, that's one. And then 2, you're a victim of your own success, because now you created such a phenomenon that people want to see you repeat that. They're like, yo, we need another one. We need a part 2. We need a part 2. And this is where toxic communities now become a problem, because after a while, man start get death threats for real, which is kind of ridiculous. I mean, if somebody is doing the work, let them work. You know, but when you're sending them death threats to continue a story that they probably want to put down, it's kind of crazy, right? However, I will say that a negative and a knock on Hideo Kojima is this, and pay attention to this. He's a little bit of a in our terms in Jamaica, him frightened for people. Him frightened for celebrity. Right? In other words, him want to work with the Hollywood stars and them thing there. But the people who made his game what it was, the voice actors, the original set of voice acting cast that he got, that brought him to the dance, that made the game what it was. Especially David Hayter, who is the quintessential voice of Solid Snake. It's like if you get up and look at Kevin Conroy and say, don't play no more Batman. Kevin Conroy is the voice of Batman. The ultimate voice of Batman. Just like Mark Hamill is the ultimate voice of the Joker. So with that in mind, when you see the importance of like the staple that somebody created for your lore, for your video game, the least you can do is give them the respect that them deserve. And unfortunately, Kojima never really had a good working relationship with David Hayter, who is arguably the person that made it. In other words, you owe that man. The performance that he put on is what made Solid Snake Solid Snake. And then only to hear that from Metal Gear Solid 2, you've been trying to replace him with like, what the man name? Kiefer Sutherland. Because what? Because he's a Hollywood actor? Yeah, celebrity turn people into an idiot. It does. You know? So, the reason why I went on this little Metal Gear tangent is that I wanted to make an analogy about, say, Boruto and Legend of Korra. Right? The reason why I wanted to do that is because when Metal Gear Solid 2 came out, you know, something that Bossman Teaching spoke about earlier, John Jones leading people on, well, Kojima led us on. He made us believe that in Metal Gear Solid 2, we were going to get Solid Snake, the character that we played back in the day, that we were going to get him in the new gen and play him for 90% of the game at the very least. We thought he was going to be the star of the show. And he was. but he wasn't a playable star of the show for more than 10% of the game. So in other words, we were lied to. And then what we got instead was what? Was Raiden. We got Raiden instead of Solid Snake. And that's what Boruto is. People never get over the Naruto nostalgia. So what happened? When you get them Boruto, they're like, what is that? I don't want this. I didn't ask for this. I didn't order this. That's how people treat Boruto, and that's the reason why Boruto has the stigma or the stain that it has on it. Right? It's not even about living up to the legacy. It's about the fact that I feel like Boruto came out a little bit too early. Maybe if they had waited a little bit longer before they release it, maybe it would have been received a little bit more favorably. And then same thing with Legend of Korra. People wanted to see the gang that hangs out with Aang. They wanted to see them grow up and see them evolve. That's what they wanted as the next chapter. So to see that we move and just with time skip all the way to generations after them dead, or even if them never dead, but a few of them not around anymore, and you skip all the way to Korra, yeah, you're gonna see that how people they're not going to receive that very well. So yeah, that was the reason for me, bringing that up. So yeah, choose who, choose you. That should be the lesson, but some people don't believe that, so I'm referring to Kojima with his treatment of the voice actors that made Metal Gear popular. And so I was remembering when we got Raiden is not what we wanted. We wanted to play as Solid Snake, right? But it's funny, I don't think we understood the subtlety that Kojima pulled off, right? I'll go tell you why. When you're playing as Raiden, he gives you all the hints that he's pretty much the new Grey Fox. But I never see it. Like all the little acrobatic, like, the little windmill somersaults that he would do, right? Him getting a sword at the end of the game to fight Solid or Snake. It's like, wait a minute. Why does he have a sword and not a gun? Why? And then we get Metal Gear Solid 4, and it's like, okay, it was foreshadowing. The entirety of Metal Gear Solid 2 was shadowing for Metal Gear Solid 4, and obviously, yeah, there's a lot of chronological confusion, right? So Metal Gear Solid 3, if anybody knows the lore, is actually what I would call Metal Gear Zero. It's what started the entire, in fact, when I was going to school, a friend of mine had a magazine that was showing off promo for Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, and he was saying to me, oh, this is like, Solid Snake in the 60s or whatever. And I literally did a calculation, because I'm like, wait, Solid Snake is born in 1972. Him and Liquid, they're born in 1972. You are not going to tell me that somebody born in 1972 would have been alive in 1964. That's not Solid Snake. Furthermore, Eye Patch, this is Big Boss. I said that to everybody that would listen. I said, listen, this is not Solid Snake. This is Big Boss. It was Big Boss. It could not have been him, because what? Him never born in the 60s. And even if he was, how old would he be in Metal Gear Solid that we played? He would have been the same, almost the same age as Ocelot. And that explains why Ocelot could do everything that he did from the beginning to the end of Metal Gear. Listen, Ocelot is the GOAT of that series. Anybody who pay attention to playing Metal Gear Solid 3, that man triple crossed 3 nations. The man betrayed China, he betrayed America and Russia just to serve him own you know, crew of people. Now, Ocelot was doing it from day one. At the ripe age of 20 years old. Born in 1944. Yeah? And then, if you follow it up to like Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, the man gave a chilling warning to, let me see if I remember what his name, Master Miller, Kazuhira Miller. Him look upon him and say, so this is how I see it, and this is where we stand. Yeah? I understand that you are having reservations about your lack of involvement in protecting Big Boss. So let me just explain how this works. If you, for whatever reason, go back to Cypher and you decide to betray this trust that we already don't have in you, and you decide that you're going to go back to Cypher, I'm going to team up with the other son, and you and I will have to go at one another. You will have to kill me and I will have to kill you. Are you okay with that? Yeah? That's the warning that Ocelot was being very passive about it too. Because he was giving him the warning, but I don't think he took it as seriously as he should have. Because a couple years later, we're playing Metal Gear Solid. Yeah? And we're talking to Master Miller thinking it's him. Nah, that man been dead for 3 days. So the person that called you on the codec, that was Liquid. The whole time. The whole time. Now mind you, it's not fun if you know that before you play the game. But when you're playing it and you realize, wait. Yeah. No, I think I made a video before about Foxhound versus not Dead Cell. Dead Cell, no, we're not even gonna talk about them. They're not even a crew. There are only like 2 people on it that's worth a damn. Like Solidus, Snake, Fat Man, that's it. And Ocelot don't count because Ocelot is on nobody's side. Ocelot ain't been on anybody's side. So anyhow, yeah, a little bit of gaming, a little bit of anime. Look at that, you know. But yeah, the point being is that sometimes, because of the nostalgia that we have, the attachment that we have to the previous character, Solid Snake is our Naruto, Solid Snake is our Aang, right? So if you ask for Aang and you get Korra, you go vex. If you ask for Naruto and get Boruto, you go vex. If you ask for Solid Snake and you get Raiden, you go vex. And that's kind of why I went on that tangent. So anyhow, now I will go on to, you know, the other, you know, members of Ultimate Mini 1Bossman. So, you know, that's me. Yeah, Champloo before, this is Cinema now. So yeah, for now I'm signing out. We'll go move on to Bossman Digital Media. Yeah, so just give me a few. Give me a few. Give me a few.